games still ahead here on day 2 after World Games. Colombia and France is the nightcap here in Birmingham. But we are still processing the epic performance from Team Germany as they knock off the United States 13-10. Evan, Megan, and Daryl back with you all. And look, Nico said before the tournament, we don't need to worry about other teams. Other teams need to worry about us. And I was just kind of mesmerized by his calm poise, even in this interview. Obviously, we've seen it on the field, but this German team doesn't feel like they're done. Megan?
And you understand exactly why they feel that way. They go out, they look like a well-oiled machine. They are running things just as they expected, and that is an incredibly confident, boosting feeling to go out and have your systems function exactly the way that they are intended to, and individuals perform at the level they know they can.
They have brought the most consistent defensive pressure in this entire tournament. I mean, there's not scheme, it's not gimmick, it's effort, it's focus. It's just attention to detail across all 7 players on the line. I've been impressed. They haven't wasted a point out there.
Their first appearance at the World Games since 2005 when they got a bid as the host country in Duisburg, Germany. They will be playing in the semifinals here on Friday evening. Colombia certainly has ambitions of joining them there. They could be 2-0 at the end of this evening as they get set to play France. The French lost on Universe Point to Australia yesterday. We'll take a look at the French highlights. This is not going to be the cakewalk that maybe Germany or maybe Colombia expected coming into the tournament. The French, I think, are ready. Colombia is the favorite, but the French gave Australia all they could handle yesterday.
I thought we saw the French do a really good job of making defensive adjustments. If you remember, Megan, we were really impressed with that. Like Australia's big vertical attack, cutting from the back of the stack. France made some adjustments and were able to bring back 2-3 breaks, I think, in that second half.
In the second half, yeah, that's right.
I'm intrigued to see if they can bring some defense.
Yeah, and I have to give you credit for your pre-game announcement that everyone watch out for Kenton Roger. He had a spectacular game, and I know that he is going to put up another fantastic performance today. But I do agree with both of you that France is angled to make this a really good game. Colombia, of course, is also very good at making adjustments, but France is not going to let up the pressure despite what we have typically seen from Colombia.
How important in your minds is it for Colombia to not just win, but to win impressively, to look better than Australia and Germany and seize the top spot in the power rankings at the World Games through 2 days? That is up for grabs here. USA is certainly not number 1 anymore, and Colombia is as good as anybody with a chance to take that mantle.
Yeah, it's about offense for them, and I think for them, playing that style, I don't think they're even going to have time to think long enough to be worried about what you're saying. The tempo we're going to see them play at, I think, will keep them riding pretty high, and I don't think they're worried about whether or not they're winning impressively. It'll just happen if it's to happen.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much they're worried about it either, but I see your point, Evan, and think that, Germany has made a very clear and decisive statement, and Colombia has an opportunity this game to do the exact same thing. And both of those statements would be important going into the bracket, just from a confidence standpoint, just from a standpoint of perhaps giving your opponent a little bit of nerves. A shaky performance from Colombia would certainly make Germany and the U.S. feel a little bit better about their chances going up against them. A strong performance would do the opposite.
A Colombia win would clinch their spot in the semifinals. Australia and Colombia would then be competing to be the number 1 seed. They play the first game in the evening session tomorrow as you see the Colombians getting fired up. USA-Canada will be the second game of the second session, the 4th game of the day tomorrow, and that game will be for a spot in the semifinals. You got to figure Canada has to be feeling pretty good about what they just saw Germany do to the United States.
Well, sure. I mean, they've got their win over them at the Poultry Days, scrimmage or exhibition, what you want to call that. That training and that confidence, and to say, hey, it doesn't matter what happened that first game. We're still here 1-1, and if we beat you, we'll have that head-to-head. And it would send the U.S. packing on their home turf. Yikes.
I also think it kind of changes the narrative of yesterday's loss. Canada really looked like they weren't prepared, but now you think maybe it was Germany's pressure that just forced them into no options, because we felt that way a little bit with the U.S. at times. And so, I think it does give Canada a little more confidence about what their team is able to do, seeing another team struggle so mightily against Germany as they did.
All right, final thoughts on Colombia and France before we get it to Liam and Rahel, who will be calling the action. Daryl, give me a player from Colombia that you think can be a difference maker in this game.
I'll take the easy one. I'm just going to go with Manu. Manuel Cardenas. I believe that Kenton Roger may have a few moments of flair, a few moments of awesome. He also has some turns sometimes. And I think the Colombians are unique in their D-line. They just don't give that disc back. Manuela will just slice and dice.
Yeah, I think Mosquera is going to be a huge boon to Colombia downfield. That's my pick.
We saw Mosquera go down late in the game yesterday, seemed to be struggling with the heat, but hopefully she'll be ready to go today. It is always fun to watch Colombia, but the French have a little bit of flair too. The ambidextrous Quentin Roger, as you're mentioning. What's the key for France to not only keep this close, but perhaps give us the second big surprise of the afternoon and evening?
Well, I'd like to see Kenton Roger cross over, and if he has a turnover, let's see, make sure you get it back. If he can get that back, he can throw any disc, anywhere, anytime, and that would be really vital to me in a couple of key defensive points.
Be interested to see as well if Sasha Płaczykowski can leave his fingerprints on this game, an important downfield cutter for the French. Quickly, picks, Colombia or France?
Colombia. But I've been wrong a lot.
I've been wrong there with you, Daryl, but I'm also picking Colombia.
I was wrong for the first time and taking the USA to beat Germany, and maybe we'll all look foolish again, but I'm going to take Colombia over France to punch their ticket to the semifinals. But the beauty of sports is you never know, and what a story we have brewing here in Birmingham. USA goes down. Will the other finalists from 2017 also be upset here on day number 2? The answer is coming up. Liam Grant, Rahel Toshnerova have the call for you. Colombia and France to finish day 2 here at the World Games after the break.
Good evening, Birmingham.
Every 4 years, there is a new opportunity. A chance for the world's best players to take center stage. A chance for glory, for teamwork, for upsets, for gold. 8 countries are sending their 14 finest to Birmingham, Alabama for the opportunity to reach the pinnacle of ultimate. The 2022 World Games start right now.
Welcome to the World Games 2022 taking place in Birmingham, Alabama. The Games represent the pinnacle of competition for 3,600 of the world's best athletes in 30+ unique multidisciplinary sports. We're at day 2 of flying disc and we got a Pool B matchup coming up for you here, folks. France taking on Colombia. Liam Grant alongside Rahel Toshnerova. Rahel, tell us how these teams are getting on so far in the tournament.
No problem, Liam. So far, both teams have had 1 game each. Colombia with a win over Japan, 13-7. France losing to Australia by 1, 12-13. But do not be fooled. This was not a game of trades back and forth. France actually able to get 3 breaks out of Australia at the start of the second half, showing some real grit and strength. And I think they were feeling quite disappointed with themselves that they weren't able to reel that one in. It would have been another one of those big European upsets that we've seen so far in this tournament already. In any case, here are the teams lining up for their announcement. We will have a look at the precise rosters, starting with Colombia.
Yes, 14 of the best players on the planet. They've been fantastic so far this tournament. Perhaps one of the most impressive teams so far. Were clinical in their game yesterday against Japan. Showed no mercy.
Andres Ramirez, one of the stats leaders overall for this tournament, followed up closely by Jose Jimenez. And here's Manu Cardenas, all smiles. Cartagena as well. Duque clapping for his opponents. French roster now coming up. Ancelan, the captain of this squad. So much experience under his belt. The Bonnot sisters proving quite, making a good mark for their first appearance on the world stage on the defensive side.
See a Mauricio Moore hat in the stand there. I don't know if they're selling knockoffs of them or you can buy an official Mauricio Moore hat. I'm sure you'd make a few pounds selling them. But yeah, France put in a valiant effort against Australia yesterday. I think that's been kind of the theme of the tournament so far, is Europe stepping up. For a long time, Europe has been the whipping boys of this tournament. Often there's only been one or two European teams that haven't fared too well, but Europe have turned up. And look, France lost that game yesterday. That was a great effort against Australia. And now, probably even bigger ask now against the Colombians, who look red hot at the moment. But everyone getting behind Europe and kind of hoping France can put it up to them. Again, Colombia just looking kind of unstoppable at the moment. Mosquera's pulls have been fantastic. They've been on point. They haven't missed a step yet.
I must agree. There is Laura Ospina, number 7 shirt. She just left the screen. She was replaced last second by Jimena Montaña, who's been doing a big chunk of work in that last game for Colombia. Ospina, of course, being on the last roster for Colombia. The Colombians keeping the same women for this World Games cycle, just like they did for the last one, with the exception of Montaña.
This shows the strength and depth of Colombian Ultimate. For to lose someone like Laura Ospina, we all remember that highlight play she had at the World Ultimate Club Championships in the indoor arena. That video did the rounds a few years ago. They've lost her, and Montaña just comes in and is fantastic. It's a lot of stats, very involved, and this shows the depth they have. Something Mauricio Moore has always told me when we talk to each other. He says there is a heap of incredible players in Colombia that we don't know about.
And it's just wonderful to see them rise up to the occasion. Here is the French team preparing for the first point of the game. Le Pagnol and Mondiaux raising their hand in preparation. Here comes the first pull.
France standing off on offense. That one fading out of bounds. So they'll take it from the brick mark, 18 meters from the front of your own end zone.
Currently 0 wind on the pitch in Alabama.
Quentin Roger, one of the fan favorites here. Multi-armed thrower. Going to be the anchor of this French offense. Has to get down and dirty early. Getting that beautiful French white jersey dirty in the first pass of the game.
A little discussion regarding the stall count. Seems like it's going to be 4. Little clap, almost followed by a fist bump. Disc gets tapped back into play.
France needs to win this game to stay in contention. It's a big ask. Watzikowski looks for Bosser, but goes to the ground. And Manu, who's been playing a lot on the D-line, gets things rolling quickly for the Colombians.
Teams yet to find a good response to the fluid movement of the Colombian adaptation of the hex offense.
France doing well to transition onto defense here, not allowing the Colombian D-line to get much yards yet. Looking very comfortable in this, and there's a deep shot through a narrow channel and incredibly run down by who else? Jose Jimenez, who picks things up where he left off in the last game, scored the winning goal yesterday and straight back into his dance moves.
He's been practicing them, he's been getting them ready. He knows that he can get open in the end zone, and it's bound to happen in the game. So Colombia opening up with a break. Here is the turn. An immediate pickup by Cárdenas. And this laser for Jimenez. We saw he reminded us of a soccer player earlier, but nah, they don't have that shaky shake.
I believe there is dance sports at the World Games. I think there is a discipline there. I can see him doing pretty well.
He's going to jump right in there after he's done scoring for Colombia.
Yeah, I'm enjoying watching the multiple disciplines here at the World Games.
We have seen France take some breaks back from their opponents, so not necessarily the end of the world. And a rare occurrence, a pull out of Elizabeth Mosquera lands out of bounds.
Yeah, weird glitch in the matrix there. I don't know what happened. Their pulls were on point yesterday, landing the back of the end zone every single time.
Sweaty palms, nervousness, could be anything. Ancelan.
Ancelan, the unofficial king of mixed ultimate in France, loves the mixed division. Throws up a floaty pass. The reset has been working for most teams this week. With the lack of wind, very easy to do that when someone's being face guarded. Just lob one up into space. Berthet with the around swing. Looking for Ancelan now. Good offensive flow here from France. Antoine. Oh, and again, it's just as I say it, they turf one into the ground, and they've given up a few passes already with just poor execution, and Colombia are going to punish you.
They were getting open so nicely. That is so unfortunate that these errors are costing them the turnovers. Colombia go the other way.
That was an interesting miss pass there. I liked it. Reminds me of like a step over in soccer, just letting it pass over your chest there. Almost a little matrix move to allow it to pass over you, but they give it back. Manu coughs him up, which is unlike her. And they look deep straight away. A few people in contention for this, and that is Jimenez again owning the deep space.
Yeah, Berthet gets the disc back, tries to do her best to attack immediately. And here's a violation as Jimenez taps the disc, which is actually not the way to bring the disc back into play. You need to have your defender do that for you, as Ancelan correctly picks up.
Yeah, in the rules now, if it's a travel and you haven't thrown the disc yet, you can bring it back in straight away, but it did have to come back after that throw. Mosquera looking to box out and does, oh, very well. Mondieu comes around the back, or should I say Berthet, putting enough pressure on Mosquera, no call. Thought she did really well, Mosquera, there to keep her position, but...
She did, but Berthet did so too, and that is lovely to see that even after that errant throw earlier into the end zone, she was able to keep her mental toughness and really come back with that D again, giving France a chance for redemption. Ancelan picks up for France again, navigating the traffic, gets it in the middle.
Antoine. Oh, another errant disc from the French. Not just sure if this is just the immense Colombian pressure, they're just not connecting right now. Cárdenas with a big backhand, big buttery biscuit around the French defense, and that is a second break for Colombia.
Ivan Alba, 35 years of age, professional communications advisory. That's what he's doing professionally. He was saying that we should look for his power cuts, which is exactly what this one into the end zone was. We'll see a little bit of replay on that Jimenez defense. You just can't stop him from catching discs in the end zone. And here the good pressure from Berthet.
Berthet been having a great tournament so far. Had a lot of big blocks in the game yesterday as well. The Monkey Grenoble player will be going to the World Ultimate Club Championships with them. Actually have to play against her in the European Ultimate Championships Federations, the club competition back in Bruges last year, and she was fantastic, definitely a standout on that team.
I also had a short chance to coach her for a week last summer in France for an under-26 training camp organized by some lovely people, including Ansalan, actually, now on the field.
I'm wondering who has a more famous hat, Tom Styles or Mauricio Moore? Which would sell for more on eBay? I'm not so sure.
We will put up a poll on social media, but in the meantime, the French need to stay alive and score this one.
What, Sokolski? Yves Bono? Mondieu? I say there's a call downfield. Not sure if it affected the plays around the handler space.
We're going to see some wonderful matchups from the French young women and the Colombian young women, just to see who can run faster or else make less mistakes.
Roger dishes it off. Nice give-go there in the handler space. Oh, and again, another execution error. That was an unusual pass. Not sure if he knew what was going on there. That was Duque still rails it in. It was in front of his face before he even realized.
Cartagena goes for the upline, but it's an overthrow for Torres.
And he wastes no time, Roger. Don't know if this has been called back for foul. That came out of his hand very strange, but it does not matter. It's caught anyway.
Excellent positioning by Lepagnol.
He's looking towards the end zone again, Roger.
Goes for the leading pass, but it seems like there will be a stoppage on the play. A little discussion with Cantor.
You see Eric Becker there. He only is no good player on this French roster. You know they're French Open champions.
Fast count call.
So it seems to be about the speed of the count that the mark has been doing. And an interpreter is called in.
6 seconds. What reason is that when you
Speed things up.
were putting that way for him, now he said 9, and then when you put it this way, he said 10.
Okay, so stall count. Stall count. Contested stall count comes in at 8 max.
So the disc will get sent back on a contested stall count. Here's the huge grab by Lepagnol. Way to keep possession for France. Roger gets the disc underway.
Roger shoots the end zone straight away, and that's the first goal for France. Lepagnol again. Looks like there could be a call on the field.
Still 8, 9, 10. Stalling 8, 9, 10. You said still 8, 9, 10.
Okay, so it's a stall count. You're calling fast count. Okay, so contested. And what's the? Stalling. So, contested. You're
Getting
contesting.
a lesson in counting
okay.
here.
So it's a contested.
Definitely something in flying disc.
At 8.
Stall outs are often contested.
Another contested stall. In on 8.
So Roger is getting at stall 8. We'll have just under 2 seconds. He goes for the same move again, but lightning doesn't strike twice here. Lepagnol unable to reel that one in. So France still have yet to score. As we see Valeria Cardenas picking it up now and looking deep straight away, and she's got a cannon of an arm. Who is marking Ramirez? See if he puts it out into space. Holsters it for a second. Cardenas gets the easy pop to Ramirez again. He's been a tyrant on offense for this Colombian team.
Third break for Colombia. Not the greatest start out of France. I'm really liking both of the Cardenas, not really wasting any time, thinking, you know, I've had enough of these short passes. I see the space. I'll just put a quick slicey throw in whatever space it needs to go. They do it, and they get the breaks without using too much energy.
That was a rocket from Cardenas. See her crossing over to the D-line. Looks like the O-line playing defense here. Something that happens quite a lot when you got a roster of just 14 players.
In case you're wondering about Cantor and his face mask, it is from a previous injury.
We have a timeout on the field.
And just to prevent any further potential damage, he wears that. But there are times, and you can count with us, that he takes it off during the game, especially during discussions.
France calling timeout as they go on an 0-3 run. Something that's kind of traditional in the game of flying disc. If you can see 3 goals in a row, you're almost obliged to call a timeout. And they've been playing okay, France, but just not connecting.
Colombia, of course, pleased with their performance. Hard to predict, though, whether if this game turned out to be one-sided, Liam, is it going to be good? Is it going to be enough for the Colombians, enough training, so to speak, to then continue on when they get to the harder stages of the tournament, potentially the semis?
Talking about some hypotheticals here. Yeah, it's a weird situation now for Colombia. Let's presume, or hypothetical situation, if they win this game, they go against Australia tomorrow, but could be in a situation of, do they want to win that game? Depending on which semi-finalist they want. Still not decided who's finishing where, but they're going to find themselves in an awkward situation for that. Alba arcing that pull into the sky. Comes down in the hands of the French. And sagging in the lane there from Colombia. Have been doing well to fluster this French offense. Season to Roble. Gaining some yards upfield. Looks to Basser. Often see Basser wearing a bucket hat and wearing it at World Beach, where he's captain of the French team that got a bronze medal in the open division of the World Championships.
French keep going through the break side. This is almost the first open side pass we've seen. Bit of force middle defense out of the Colombians.
Getting involved there with Basser. And a nice shot to the end zone, and there's the first goal for France. Sullivan Roble gets them on the scoreboard.
Roble, 26 years of age, 180 centimeters high, a right-handed defensive cutter. Of course, one of the Chuck Club players joining this male side of French World Games team. He says his dad and his grandmother are watching at home. They will be pleased to see that little score that he managed to get for France in the break side. And like I said, the French doing a really good job attacking that narrow corridor right behind the mark's right shoulder, should I say?
Yeah.
And it's been working for them really well. So they stay in the game.
With that inside shot, kind of that Jimmy Mickle flick, that outside in to the break side.
We've seen it more and more in Ultimate, actually, people using that kind of throw that curves away from the player, but that also means away from the defender. And towards the break side.
Again, in this wind, I think you get away with that. You see the roll pull there. Tactically blading that one into the ground to roll out of bounds and force Colombia to take it from the sideline.
I would love to see some kind of tactical move from France besides match D.
Forcing them backwards now, the French. Using a call in field, a foul being signaled. Not sure who was fouled there.
It was one of the female matchups downfield. Ramirez, regardless, stays with the disc. The singer on this Colombian squad. Sorry, pianist.
Now with the other Ramirez, Felipe. Back to Jimenez. Good defense here from the French, forcing Colombia back, but not looking like they're going to turn over anytime soon. Simon Ramirez up again to Jimenez. Just working through the lads there for a bit, but they send it deep to Valeria Cadenas, but she can't run that one down. Had some separation.
And a much needed turnover for the French. Not necessarily a forced turnover. It seemed more just like an overthrow for Cárdenas there. But still, the French with a whole field to go.
I think it was the first mistake I've seen from Felipe Ramirez. This tournament has been on point. But really good defense from the French there. That's coming out in a strange horizontal stack there. They almost had 2 handlers and 5 people across the pitch downfield. And we see a big backhand hook go to the end zone. This will be contested. Nice defensive positioning there from Cantor. Waste no time picking it up.
I felt like Roblet didn't like the pushing there. I thought he was going to call something, but nothing there. No discussion. Colombians go the other way.
I think that was frustration more than anything of not being able to make a play into this, but that was just good defense from Cantor. Positioning 9/10 of the law when it comes to ultimate. Again, France flustering this Colombian offense, not giving them too much, keeping them on this far sideline. Torres.
So Ansalam poaching the lane there. Maybe it is helping. Maybe there is a little bit of poaching going on downfield. It's not always visible on the screen. But nonetheless, like you said, it seems to be flustering the Colombians. They do not seem comfortable.
Yeah, it's a very good force from the French, actually, keeping them on this sideline.
A huge fan of a good mark.
Now, Colombians able to swing and get it to the middle of the field. Valeria Cadenas. Some good give and go there. But again, a little slower than we see the Colombians moving up the field, and a travel called, which doesn't stop play. Cantor, parked outside the end zone now. Ramirez swinging it over to Ramirez, connecting there. About 4 passes in the space of 3 seconds there.
Great switching by the French, making the Colombians go laterally.
And eventually they grind that into the end zone. Beautiful offense from the Colombians, very patient. Actually very good defense from France, but Colombia just able to grind their way through it.
I'd be very interested in that replay. Good defensive effort, trying to run that down. Amazing patience by the Colombians, finally finding Jimenez in the end zone. 2 goals to his name. Colombia goes up 4-1 over France.
I think Jimenez has shockingly ran out of dance moves.
Yeah, we didn't really see. Yeah.
So what happens when
I'll get onto him. I'll get onto him after the game, send him some video shots, make sure he's on top of his game on the celebration part, because there's one thing I haven't liked so much at this tournament so far, and it's been some of the spikes, mostly out of the men. And I would much more appreciate a little dance move or a fun celebration. We've seen a tea ceremony out of Japan. We've seen some drinking tea out of the Americans when they were playing Britain.
Monju trying to work up the field. A very loud sideline from the Colombians.
They're known for it, aren't they?
Watzikowski moves up very fast. Good offense here from the French. There's a shot to the end zone and a fantastic goal. Berthet reels that one in, and that's the best offensive point I think I've seen from the French in this game.
Loving the energy. That was Céline Antoine with a second assist of this game. 35 years old. In their pre-tournament interview, France said that she is the one who works out the most in the gym. And she proved that athleticism on the upline cut, and just a very easy break side throw for Berthet, who is just beyond excited.
Yeah, Céline Antoine, one of the two captains on this French team, the other being Gaël Ancelon, both playing with Seski Discus.
Out of Strasbourg.
Yeah, and I think their experience in playing mixed ultimate has really helped this French team. A lot of the other players coming from the open and women's divisions.
Well, besides considering Ancelon my friend, Liam, I also just love to watch him play. For some reason, for me, he just exudes calm. He exudes calmness and serenity. I don't know how he does it. Some people look really tense on the field, including myself. And it's just very pleasant to watch and must have a great effect on his teammates. But Colombia's still up.
See them hopping, skipping, and jumping up the field. Cartagena. Goes to the ever-free Felipe Ramirez. Torres. And the Colombians marching up the field just as quick as the French. Torres looking for the inside shot, and a brilliant grab from Valeria Cardenas.
Torres proving once again that she very much deserves the spot on this World Games team. She is the mother of Colombian Ultimate. She has been huge support on and off the field for not just her club team Revolution, but also for the men's side that she's been coaching, Evolution, including some of her teammates here on this World Games squad. Her fakes and handling skills are just legendary, and she proves that once again with the assist for Colombia, going up 5-2.
Yeah, both teams finding the rhythm on offense. The unfortunate thing for France is it took them 3 points to figure it out. It's already down 3 breaks.
And I forgot to mention, Liam, that the last 2 points, 2 scores, were women points.
Let's see. Ivan Alba from Comunidad El Oso with this pull. And you choosing to field that one was definitely close to the sideline. Good initiation play from the French as it's switched over to Bosser, back to Watzikowski. Sliding onto his knees, Roger. This ends up a flick to the unguarded Sullivan Roblet. Is that one going to count? I was presuming he was coming back for a pick. It was so casual.
Very casual, but what a set play out of France. That really couldn't have worked out much better for them, but potentially a miscommunication on the defensive side from the Colombians. It seemed like not a habit for the ultimate Frisbee players to just leave a player open in the deep space.
Yeah, completely blown coverage there. Often when you see that, you're expecting some kind of pick call, but just obviously confusion within the Colombians, whether it was a switch or people not sure who they were marking, but Roblet will take it. As you see Nas Mbaye Vogel there, one of the coaches of this French mixed team, is one of the most experienced players in Europe and one of the most nicest players as well. Famed on both sides of the Atlantic, has played a little bit in the US as well. Very lucky to have him in the coaching staff.
The Colombians putting their "I trust you" motto on display, holding hands before the pull.
Horizontal stack here from the Colombians. Cross-field initiation caught from Cartagena. Looking to break the mark, but a good force so far. Has to go all the way back around. And a high disc and a great interception for France. This first break opportunity here, looking to get one back. And it's slow to get the team downfield as it gets high in the stalk count there. Goes for the bigger round. Easily gathered up by Ancelon. That's a good play here from Ancelon, getting the field rolling. And there's a call on the field. They heard the stadium announcer call it, but didn't see anyone waving their hands in the air. Not sure when it happened.
Big chance for France. Duque and Lepagnol will have a little discussion.
Monson, Lepagnol. Looks like a travel was called. Not sure when that was called.
So the discussion must have been whether it affected the play or not. Regardless, Lepagnol will keep the disc.
That was a few passes ago. Coming in on stall 4.
Big break chance for France. They need to start stealing them back from Colombia after their slower start of this game.
Lepagnol shoots the end zone straight away. That is a fantastic throw into the back corner of the end zone. That is a break for France, a huge moment for them, keeping this game alive, clawing one back. Robles yet again.
Sullivan Robles adds third goal to his scoreboard, and that is huge for France. Staying close, staying tight, and giving them the confidence of knowing that they're able to get a break out of this Colombian team. See the turnover one more time. High disc. Lots of players underneath, and it's Robles who comes down with it. And here he is with the score, so bookends for him, or double happiness, call it whatever you want. This French guy is having a heck of a game.
Now some spice from Lepagnol coming in on that travel call and just puts it out in the space. There was not a lot of separation there, but if you can float one to the back corner of the end zone, often will favor the offensive receiver. Getting some water there.
So I was talking about stats earlier, Liam. For France, we also have some stats leaders. Roger currently leading in the entire tournament, but I doubt he's going to stay in that position after this one if the French keep going the way they have been.
You see Borneau with the pull for the French. Now Cartagena back out there on offense. Cartagena getting high in the stall count. This French team doing very well against this Colombians, and now we see a rifle shot to the end zone. Released quite high and beautifully caught in the end by the Colombians. That's more like it. Alexander Ford getting his first goal of the game.
He's had an assist previously, but he will be pleased with this one. But you were right, Liam. I think the French are sort of finding their way around the quick Colombian offense. Great awareness to keep that disc despite the bang on the head.
I think the Colombians is grabbing the bull by the horns there and realizing they should open up the field a bit. They've been flustered around the handlers. Don't be afraid to launch one deep. Definitely have the throwers and the receivers.
Good that they're remembering what they were famous for at the start, which were the deep shots, mostly out of the Cárdenas twins. But now Colombia only 1 point away from taking the half.
It was interesting to see Eva Borneau pulling the last point. I believe she's actually the youngest player at the tournament. And that's usually something that the Colombians can brag, but now they're kind of maturing, this Colombian side. The Cardenas sisters, maybe not as young as they used to be, and it's France they're kind of bringing up those young players. Roger playing as a righty during that possession. He was looking towards the end zone. Instead gets the nice undercut from Fouquet. Nice inside pass to get some momentum going.
They really keep slicing through that break side.
What? Sokolski. Really nice around and a nice floaty buttery biscuit to the end zone. That is a great goal for France. Sullivan Robles with a goal machine.
I can't believe how casual that last throw into the end zone was. Can't wait for the replay. A good cross-gender score for France. Again, you can see on the scoreboard that France was seeded 7th, Colombia 2nd. It's not really looking like that kind of game so far. Colombians still having the upper hand, but look at that casual throw from Capel. Second assist.
Yeah, a bit of steez in those high release backhands. And playing with confidence still, the French, and staying within touching distance of this Colombian side. And that's what we want to do. Just make sure you get to the end of the game quite close and maybe put on some power lines, try and fluster them. I've actually done well to take the energy out of the game a little bit, and the energy out of the Colombians. They're a little more quiet than I'm used to.
We see the French getting loud now on the sideline. I think they will really try hard to stay in this first half and get this break.
Yeah, always good to try and get a break before halftime. Put on a strong line. Try and take it to 6-6. Cartagena, who's ended up in a high stall count a numerous amount of times. Duque. Moving quickly now. Torres on this near sideline, puts one up into the middle. So Ramirez, Cartagena again. Nobody downfield really for the Colombians, just one option, but it's gathered up by the French defender.
Bornot with the defense.
Big opportunity here, especially with Roger on the D-line now, and you know what he's going to do. He's going to send it to the end zone. That one will be hotly contested. A great grab. It's not in just yet. He needs help. And a nice lefty dish to the end zone, and that is a goal. They tied the game. Eva Bornot, the youngest player on the field, scores for France.
And I believe it might have been her with the defense as well. Is that a bookends? She celebrates like it is. France tie with Colombia. 6-all. Liam, did you expect this?
I don't think anyone really expected this now. Still very early days, but in fairness to all the European teams have really stepped up in this tournament. I think we talked about Germany bringing the heat, but not many people expected the French to be putting up this game to Colombia. Not sure Colombia are firing all cylinders as well, but I do think a lot has to be how French are flustering them. Just make them take loads of passes. We saw there in that last possession, Colombia had one player in front of the disc. Now, I don't know what kind of flexing offense or defense that is, or variation, but it was not working what was going on there. A bit of confusion between the Colombians, who's hanging back and who's getting involved, but still cheering in the sidelines.
So for me, Colombia had a lot more flow in the previous game, in a sense that they moved the disc a lot quicker, and for some reason they're not doing that now. They occasionally get off a really good quick shot, mostly Cárdenas sisters taking their world famous outside ins or deep shots. But like you said, looking a little bit flustered, need a bit more movement, and France just fired up.
How good has this tournament been so far? It's been really great seeing every game happening one after the other. You get the whole storyline, and you know, it hasn't been going to the script, which is a great thing. It's been very exciting. You know, Pool A has been shaken up, and now Pool B, you know, everyone is just expecting Colombia are going to be in the semi-finals. Well, they actually have to go beat some teams. Got a big win over Japan yesterday, but have to get past the French now, and Australia tomorrow. Nothing is set in stone here.
So as France find a chink in the armor of the unbeatable flow of the Colombians, the teams break out of their timeout huddles. And we are in what we like to call
Galaxy Point, bit of a European terminology.
in honor of the European teams doing so well at this tournament so far.
But it's such a crucial point of the game, because if Colombia go score here, they're going to get the disc back. So allows them to take maybe a 2-point lead with keeping possession for the next 2 points. So France really need to get back on serve and get a break here. Big moment for them. Cartagena. It's the ever-free Felipe Ramirez. Jimenez. Colombia maybe finding their rhythm again after that timeout. Ramirez, a little goose step to get upfield against the caller Lepagnol. Very good offense here from the Colombians. Inches from the end zone and taking half, and a nice banana cut from Jimenez, the goal machine. And there we see some dancing. I don't know if that's a lasso he's doing there. Seems appropriate in Alabama.
Well, he's surely trying to get his teammates pumped up. So Colombia relying on the strength of their steady offensive handler. We saw Torres really spreading the field out wide, swinging back and forth. Still not the quickness that we saw in the previous games, but definitely a bit more lateral movement. Good mark put on, but Jimenez just took too quick on the turn. Scores for Colombia. They take the half.
Yeah, the Colombian cowboy reeling that one in. So incredible first half here in Group B. Colombia taking half, 7-6 over the French.
Back here in Birmingham, one more half to go here in day number 2, and a bit of a spicy second portion of that opening half between Colombia and France. A 3-0 lead. Colombia looked sharp early, but what in the name of Sullivan Robles got into the French? Goodness gracious, he was everywhere, and the French are right back in this thing.
Mon Dieu. It was incredible. I mean, he was finishing plays deep, and I think the French attacking some of those inside throwing channels, right? The inside flicks. Incredible stuff.
Yeah. Robles D really ignited the breaks that we saw from France. That play, I think, just made them believe that they had what it took to play tight.
Well, if Robles has been the star for France, Valeria Cardenas has had an incredible half. I think you picked the wrong twin when you were talking pregame about which Colombia player to watch.
You're going to have to stop asking me to give you specific predictions about what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Clearly, we don't know.
2 assists, 1 goal for Valeria. She has been finding the disc and finding the spots with ease for Colombia.
There's one of the great defensive plays from Robles, and then
this is a bookends moment, wasn't it?
After the turn, yes indeed, to get him back within 1 at 5-4, the shot from Lepagnol. But Valeria Cardenas made the score to make it 6-5, and then another great defensive play for France. And look, I was going through all the possibilities of what happened. If France wins this game, Pool B gets very, very wonky heading into tomorrow. It's frankly fascinating to contemplate and confusing, too.
I would love to see it. I mean, I think here, France is being very clinical on these turns. I mean, maybe I was talking about having a Kenton Roger over there on the transition, but like they don't seem like they need that. if they can keep getting some of those post blocks, keep trying to take advantage of that dump swing, you know, that Colombia's known for, especially their O-line, they might be able to get some more opportunities, Megan.
What do you want to see from Colombia in the second half, Megan?
Well, I think that they're going to need to be a little bit more aggressive with the disc offensively. France has definitely pushed the pace of their offense down quite a bit. We've seen a lot of swinging around the front of the end zone. If they can just stretch the field once in the second half, I think it'll open things up for them.
Jimenez had a strong start to the game, a couple goals, a couple of dances, but the French quieted him down late in the half. Darryl, what do you foresee here?
Well, I mean, honestly, pushing him under, he's going to have to show that, hey, I have those throws too. I can take advantage. If you keep giving me those underneath throws on the swings, I'll take advantage with a cross-field shot or something like that. He gets one of those, he's back to being that dynamite goal scorer that we've seen all tournament.
Let's just take a quick deep breath for a moment. What a day this has been. Started with a really intense Australia-Japan game this morning. Canada-GB was down to the wire. Germany upsets the U.S., and perhaps we have another surprise in store over the course of the next hour. It's Colombia leading France 7-6. Colombia on offense to start the second half. Liam and Rael take you home after this.
Welcome back to John Carroll High School. We're here at Flying Disc. Colombia taking on France. The second half about to kick off here. Liam Grant alongside Rahel Toshnarova. I'm still buzzing after that game earlier, the Germany-USA game. If you haven't watched it, folks, make sure to go back and watch it. I was a little worried this could be a blowout, not going to lie. But France have brought their A game, and this is going to be a very exciting second half. As we see Colombia coming back out on offense. And there we see a deep shot straight away. This one will be hotly contested. Bosser almost gets a touch to it. But is Duque parked outside end zone looking for that quick dish in, but has to go back to Ramirez. And a big hammer to open up the field. Valeria. And another hammer across the field. This one dangerous, and Mosquera catches it with a defender coming towards her. Had to keep her concentration there.
She looks like she has hit her arm, though, as her teammates help her to get up. She held on to the disc. You see a little check from Capel, making sure that her opponent is okay. Another display of wonderful spirit of the game. One of the main characteristics of our sports, besides competing at the highest level in the mixed category and having no referees. Let's see that replay of the deep shot by the Colombians. Huge grab by Duque. He just gets vertical, because that works too, not just horizontal, and an excellent hammer. Mosquera goes down, secures that disc in her hands. Colombia coming out strong in the second half.
Jose Jimenez was listening to the halftime analysis from Daryl Stanley there, sending the big huck to Duque, who obliged and got up early in a great grab.
And the first time we saw France sort of slowing down, soothing the Colombian offense, making them question their throws and not take too many aggressive options.
That one just landing in bounds. Thought it might have touched the line. But it's now France inside their own end zone. Onsalon, very flat mark from the Colombians. See them sagging in the lane as well, making it very difficult to throw downfield, but allowing that easy reset for the moment. And we are happy to keep them parked inside their own end zone. Eventually get some momentum downfield. Antoine. Back to Onsalon, has had a lot of touches of this disc. Again, slow and steady wins the race for the French, and just a complete throwaway there. Not sure what she was intending to do. And easily picked up by Alba. Chance to restore their 3-point lead. The Colombians, they have a lot of space here, and this dish one out to Mosquera. That was just too easy for the Colombians.
Now, that is a star that Colombia were hoping for in the second half, I believe, just adding steadily to the few breaks that they managed to score at the start of the game. They went up 3-0 over France in the first half. France managing to come back towards the end of the half. And now they come with this turnover into the poach, I believe. And Colombia with female point to Mosquera. She got the last one too.
It's one of those situations where if you start a game on defense and get a break or two early in the game, you're going to come out on offense for the second half. So Colombia essentially able to get 3 points in a row. 2 of them are on offense.
In case Elizabeth Mosquera looks incredibly athletic to you, the reason is that she is a sports professional in her in her job as well. She trains a lot of the players out of Medellin, including herself. So in case you're impressed with her performance, do believe that there is hard work behind that.
Yeah, you can follow Mosquera on Instagram. I've seen her stories. I think she lives inside a gym.
Could be.
France now having to get a few breaks back. They've done it once already in this game. And it's been courageous moments from the likes of Borneau. He's looking to run a give-go here. Becker to Bosser. A pick is called, so we'll go back to Becker.
Good to see Fouquet out there again, trying her luck on offense. She was the one to cause that turnover in the last point, but I think it's the best medicine to really go out there straight away and try to get as many touches as possible. There's no time to waste hanging on to your old mistakes. There's more points to play and more games to win. We see the French not letting the disc get tapped back in.
Becker not entirely happy with that pick call, I think. It was Tino Tranis on the sidelines there, the famous ultimate photographer. Bosser thinks about the deep shot, runs the quick give-go with Roger. Vincent Lepagnol. Mondieu, who's had a quiet game so far. Usually very involved in this French offense. A nice shot to the end zone, a two-handed grab as he latches onto that one just about. Eric Becker with the goal.
Lots of pressure on the undercuts by the Colombians, but France goes right over them. An important hold for France to stay in this game. First score of the second half.
Yeah, need to get that break train rolling again. They've done it before, already got 2 breaks off this Colombian team, so they can do it again.
Yeah, he holstered that one, and incredibly athletic grab by Becker.
He just kind of threw himself at that one and decided how to catch it later.
So you were saying, Liam, that we have seen some surprising performances out of the European teams at this tournament. I wonder, could it be that the development programs that a lot of people, and also a lot of these players in these World Games squads, put so much energy into? And it might be that finally European Ultimate is getting to the level where the dividends from the hard work are paying off.
Yeah, France have done an incredible job of bringing up youth ultimate. I think they have probably the biggest youth ultimate scene in Europe. And I think that will pay dividends. We saw it happen in Italy. It took a decade essentially to get them to the top of European Ultimate, but France putting in the hard work as well.
These results don't come out of nowhere. Here's Colombia.
Jose Jimenez. Cantor. Who's using the full width of the field here. Felipe Ramirez. Cartagena. And France doing well to slow him down a little bit. Cartagena using the whole width of the field, tries to jump that one in, but just a meter too short. Back to Cartagena, who's marshalling this offense. Can't get the inside shot, getting high in the stall count now, has to reset. Ramirez being very patient outside the end zone here. On a beautiful break shot from Cartagena. A good end zone stand from the Frenchman. Nice break pass, eventually opens it up.
I'm glad I didn't have a chance to say that Jimenez was looking to get another score there for Colombia. Good pressure on those last few passes by the French. That is some good, proper defensive pressure in front of the end zone, but doesn't bear the fruits they were hoping for. Eventually a break pass from Cartagena to Cárdenas. She kisses the disc. She trusts her teammates, she trusts her opponents, she trusts the disc to make its way into her hands. Cartagena, 2 assists in this game so far. Another one, another sports person on the Colombian team, doing a lot of coaching in ultimate as well as fitness and conditioning.
We've seen Colombian teams in the past really rely on the Cardenas sisters, but they actually haven't had to do that so far this tournament. But you do see times where they're struggling a bit outside the end zone, they're struggling to get downfield, and that's when they step in. That's when Valeria's like, okay, I need to get free here in the end zone, or I need to make that deep shot. But very much a balanced performance from this Colombian team. Bosser, unmarked in the middle of the field. Roger. Maestro running this French offense. Doesn't have a tight mark on him now, but you feel like you want to be putting a lot of pressure on his resets and throws. And now a Blady crossfield pass to Bosser, who gets up early, gets a hand to it, and gets a little bump.
Seems like it will be accepted immediately by Duque.
Bosser just dishes one to the end zone, an easy goal. This time is Roger catching a goal. Don't see it too often. Playing a game of flubberguts, is that what that's called there?
Sure. In any case, the French keep it tight. Still a few breaks behind, but that break side is working wonders for them. Huge opener by Becker. Good positioning from Bosser. And an easy high release for the score. So you were saying earlier, Liam, that Colombia does not rely on their Cardenas superstars anymore so heavily as they used to in the past. Honestly, in my opinion, I believe that the times where top games could have been played by a few people are far over. We see all of these teams at this tournament using their full roster. There might be some players who play slightly more, but just everyone gets involved, and it's going to become even more apparent as we get into the bracket.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is because of the great coaching we see now from all the ultimate teams. They know how to take someone out of the game, play team defense, not allow one player to take over. But at this level, at the World Games, you need 14 incredible players. That's what it takes in this heat, in this sweat, these tight games. Torres.
Admiring her fakes.
And now we see a big buttery biscuit to Mosquera. Easily runs that one down. That was a beautiful shot to the back of the end zone.
Revo connection for the Colombian women. They're getting pumped up. Simon Ramirez getting the sideline involved. Colombians going up 11-8, only 2 points away from the hard cap. Let's see that ripper into the end zone one more time. Colombians isolating their women downfield. The men making more space, making sure there's no poaches around. And it works wonders for them, just like the break side for the French. The deep space dominated by Mosquera. That is the Mosquera we know.
The Colombians like to play a lot of small ball, but when they pick their deep shots, they pick them really well and execute them incredibly well. It's always just one person isolated. There isn't 2 or 3 defenders there. And have been nailing those shots, particularly Valeria Cadenas, one of the best cannons in the game.
Lots of little things that can be so inspiring for any players or aspiring young players watching this game. Some great throwing technique out of different body types, different people. Just you could use these streams as a textbook for Ultimate.
Robles sends one deep. To say Roger, and it's Becker under it. Does incredibly well under pressure. Back to Roger, who's quick to follow up the play and take control of the offense yet again. Becker has been lobbing these flicks to the end zone, and they're working out. Bosser stepping up as well. Brilliant offense from France, but they need to start getting some breaks back.
France feeding Colombians their own medicine, responding with a deep shot of their own straight away, and then again working the break side with a tight squeeze. The receiver here having to keep his feet in. Let's see that again. That's a break shot, a break deep shot. Still so much pressure from the Colombians, given that that was the break side. Got a little give and go. And finally, Bosser brings it in for France.
Sullivan, Robles, been one of the standouts of this game. 5 goals and 1 block. Been everywhere for this French side. Putting pressure on this swing here. Great team defense from the French. Robles gets the bookends on this point. And Colombia have gotten their breaks, but they've never really found an answer for Robles. Still getting involved in almost every score. Ramirez. To Ramirez. Connecting there as Cantor has this now in the middle of the field. It's like a backhand force from the French team in his last few points. Torres now hits the front corner of the end zone and laying out French player. Can't stop Cantor from scoring, but a pick is called.
With his mask off, it seems like there will be a call retracted. He signals hat on this. Oh, is it a halo or a hat?
Not sure if that's a WFDF official hand signal. Didn't look that one up.
He's a little angel flying through the end zone. Or could it be, I can't remember the English word. The Greeks used to wear the plant on their head.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I was going to say tiara, maybe?
Yeah, not a tiara. Never mind. In any case, this was the first point where finally we see Colombia as we know them. This was the quick ball or quick disc they like to play. Lots of lateral movement, wasting no time passing it to the first open person they see. It was a lot smoother than any of the other points in this entire game. And it probably was one of their quickest offensive points so far.
Yeah, feel free to message us, whatever that celebration means. Been a lot of interesting celebrations over this week.
Bay wreath? Is that a thing? laurels.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone wearing one in the tournament yet. Probably doesn't fit in with the uniform guidelines. Roger. Vertical stack here from French, and one player completely unguarded. That is Berthet. That's Sokolski. Again, gaining easy yards here, the French. Not sure if this is a tactical choice from the Colombians. Berthet finds herself in the handler position yet again, and that one quite close, but she runs the give-go up us there. And a brilliant goal from the French. Fantastic offense, but it is Colombia on game point, and they need to muster up some defense here.
France almost looking like copycats, responding with a quick game. Not so much sideways. They like to use the break side a bit more. See that huge grab. Colombia getting horizontal. Berthet gets slow on that release, just down the sideline, and that's an easy score in that corner. They've been doing it all game. So as long as they're connecting on the O points, that's good for them. But you said it, Liam, 2 defensive points.
Yeah, France have been playing really well this tournament, but it's those breaks they gave up at the start of the game. You can see 4 breaks for the Colombians, 3 coming in the first 3 points. And that's really been the killer for France. And look, they're going to have to go on a run of breaks here, but they've probably left it a little too late to go on this run, asking a lot of them, but the game is not over yet.
I agree. We'll see if France have learned their lesson from their last game, where they did manage to come almost all the way back, then losing really on that last possession. It is a tough task to ask, but not impossible. We have done a little bit of more research on that. So a laurel leaf crown is a symbol of victory, Liam. And I would have been able to tell you that earlier had my English knowledge been better. Let's get ready for the potential game point in the game of Colombia taking on France. Torres making sure she's ready for that point, and so are her teammates. Ancelan sorting out the last details of the French defense. Bourneau preparing for the pull.
We've seen the Bourneau sisters pulling quite a lot in this game. Great to see it. 2 of the young stars. And the French are not done just yet. It is game point for Colombia. They spread across the field here on offense. Torres, Cantor. It looks like a zone here from the French. Unusual to bring it out this late in the game. And it's actually their offensive handler, Roger, in the middle of it. And Colombia stretching it so far, getting space down the sideline. Jimenez dishes off to Cantor. Torres off to the races now. The Colombians.
Sticking with the zone, sticking with the zone. Love that risque move.
Now they transition to a match defense. Cartagena. Oh, so good at faking out that around flick. Ramirez. Back to Cantor, is now in the hand of space, and it's a great goal. And who else but Jose Jimenez? He knows how to finish a game. Colombia win 13-10 over the French.
What a game, Liam. France tried so hard. We saw some tight squeezes. We saw some catches under pressure from the Colombians. But this is the final score. Colombia, the better team in this matchup. They started better. They took France by surprise. France showing great recollection skills, so to speak. Coming back, scoring even a few breaks, but not enough to stop Jimenez and Mosquera in the end zone. Here we see the final celebration. Claps all around. Colombia continue their victory streak.
Yeah, superb effort from the French, but just a few sandwiches short of the picnic there. The Colombians march on with a 13-10 victory. Probably not as powerful of a performance as it was against the Japanese, but they know how to get the job done. Fantastic plays from the likes of Mosquera, catching some goals. Lots of dancing as well from the Colombians, a joy to watch.
Starting the highlight reel with some great moments from this matchup. We've seen quite a few highlight plays out of both teams. Sideline getting excited. Loving these color shots.
Another fantastic game here at the World Games 2022. Colombia beating France 13-10. It's been a fantastic game, as have all the games. Stay tuned for more here on the Olympic Channel.
Day 2 in the books here in Birmingham, and Colombia caps the second day at the World Games with a perfect second half. No turnovers after halftime for Mauricio Moore's Colombian squad. They improved to 2-0. It's Australia, Germany, and Colombia, the remaining unbeaten teams in the tournament. The big story of the day, of course, USA goes down to Germany. We'll break down everything over the next little bit. Daryl Stanley, Megan Tormey, I'm Evan Lepler. Great job by our crew in Madrid. And a shout out to our crew here in Birmingham, led by Charlie Eisenhood, and Aiden Shapiro, Leighton, and Lindsay Sue. Everybody working their butts off in this sweltering heat. Before we get to the day, the performance by Colombia, did they do enough to make them the favorites in the tournament in your eyes?
Wow. Well, I mean, the number of turnovers for them went down, so that's pretty amazing. Yesterday we saw them not really close out the game as strongly. Today they closed it out even stronger than they did in that first half. So the score line may not reflect it, but I think that in many ways this was more impressive.
I don't know if it would be enough for me to say that they are the favorite, but certainly they have the tools necessary to upset any of the other top teams. What I was most impressed with really was how much Alejandro Torres and Valeria Cardenas picked up the pace of the offense. You know, we were noticing that France was starting to clamp down defensively, and those two really kept the speed going to the point where France was just never comfortable defensively in the second half.
This is the early break for Colombia right at the beginning of the game. Getting that early statement, they jumped out all over the French team, 3-0 before France was able to put an answer.
Yeah, France got back to 6-all. Colombia took half 7-6, but again, no turnovers in the second half, and Valeria Cardenas to Elizabeth Mosquera was a frequent combination for the Colombians, and a fun one for the fans around the world to see. Megan, if you're not ready to declare Team Colombia the favorite, who is the favorite to win the World Games in Ultimate 2022 in your mind after 2 days?
After 2 days, I do think I have to say Germany. I think that, like I said, they have brought as polished of a product as we have seen. The one wrinkle in my saying that is simply that they haven't been tested. What they have brought has been so decisively good. They haven't necessarily had to go back to the drawing board and try something else.
To say they haven't been tested, they just beat the United States.
No, okay, that's what I meant is they have not been down. They have not played down. They have not had.
They haven't seen the adversity.
Right, they haven't had their plan A not go as they drew it up.
Daryl, who's the favorite in your mind?
It's got to be Germany right now. I mean, you take down the U.S., it's a really important thing to do. I will say, though, that the U.S., we talked about fixable problems, Megan, yesterday. The U.S.'s issues, I think, are perhaps fixable. And thankfully, you know, they saw them, right? If they were to make, they are to take back their perch at the top of the
USA is in a similar position to 5 years ago when they lost a pool play game and they had to bounce back and beat Canada to stay in the tournament, and they did. And they had to do that turnaround in about 4 hours. This time they've got a little over a day. You can imagine Maddie Sang and Miranda Rothknowles and Patrick Sherlock will be up late tonight game planning for Team Canada tomorrow. Quick timeout. Manuela and Valeria, the Cardenas twins, set to join us here at our game day perch after Colombia improves to 2-0 here at the World Games. Well, Team Colombia relaxing after a 13-10 win over France. The two superstars from Colombia, Medellin, Manuela and Valeria Cardenas, welcome. Manu, we talked to you yesterday and heard your perspective. Valeria, you're coming off a great game. What has this World Game experience been like for you so far, and how satisfied are you to be 2-0?
Sí, no, pues como que esos World Games, como que pues han ido muy chévere, como que tal ha sido su experiencia y como que tan satisfecho se encuentra.
Bueno, mi experiencia ha sido muy chévere. Creo que el nivel de madurez que tengo ahora no lo tenía en el 2017 y eso se ve reflejado en la cancha.
She feels so happy to be here like this year because she thinks she's a way different player than she was like years ago. In her mature, she's like able right now like to show that on the field. So she's enjoying this tournament a lot.
Y que estar rodeado de ese grupo de personas es lo que lo hace más chévere pues estar acá.
And being around of this group of people like Colombia is like made this tournament way better, way special for her.
And why do you say that? What is it about this group that makes this special tournament even more special for you?
Como que porque lo dices, como que tiene ese grupo, como que hace que este torneo sea como más especial para usted.
Porque solo en estos torneos, en los World Games, es donde juego mixto y es muy chévere poder compartir con hombres y mujeres.
Hard to bar. To say because this tournament is like one tournament, like this is the biggest tournament that we have. So this is the chance that we have like to play on mixed team. So this is the chance that we have. We are able like to play with different people, like not just being in one category like just women or men. So yeah.
Y aunque no todos estamos jugando en la cancha, otros están desde las tribunas, otros están como extraoficiales, somos un grupo que siempre nos apoyamos.
So we are a huge group that we support each other a lot. That we are not just like the 14 players and the coaches that are on the field playing. We have like people that have been in the process since we started until now. So we have people on the stand, we have people on the sideline like taking care of all of us, and all of us like just going for one goal.
Valeria, when you see Mosquera going deep and you've got the disc, what's going through your mind?
Sí.
She got that one.
What'd she say?
She got that one. I was like, do you understand? And you're like, yeah, I got it.
Dile que la conexión que nosotras tenemos en la cancha y más con Elisa es como yo solo la veo y simplemente pienso en lanzárselo.
The connection that Bala and Elisa has on the field just like special, that she just see Elisa and she will throw it. You know, like we were playing together like for 10 years now, so she doesn't even think like who Elisa has on her, so she just gonna throw it to Elisa.
Since the last time you competed in the World Games, you had a major injury that you had to battle back from. What was that process like for you, and how satisfying is it to be back playing at this level?
Can you repeat that one?
Valeria had the major injury since the last World Games. What was the process coming back like, and how satisfying is it to be back at this world-class level?
Sí, creo que después de la lesión pues uno experimenta muchísimas cosas, piensa como acerca de jugar, de qué hacer, acerca pues como en torno a la vida, pero que creo que ese proceso a uno le ayuda a tomar más disciplina.
So she said that it was like a time that was like a lot of emotion, like a lot of like thing like coming to her mind, like even like started to think like she was wanting like to come back like to play Frisbee. It was like a experience that like teach her a lot, like and not just like about ultimate, like also like about life.
Y que cada vez que yo me levantaba a entrenar simplemente pensaba en el resultado que quería lograr y era pues estar acá y jugar muy bien y poder aportar a mi equipo.
So she said that every time that she wake up, she just didn't like, when she was like going to work out, like to train, she just like had one thing in her mind and she just wanted like to come back. And she doesn't say this, but I'm gonna add that Valeria doesn't get a surgery. She recovered like without surgery. And like at the moment that she decided I'm not gonna get surgery, like she worked out like two hours in the day. She was like all the time like doing like her knees and so on, like to be able like to be back. So she was like so comfortable with that. I really admire that from her.
I've got two more questions for you, but why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I want to talk specifically about this game, and I want to know what was running through your head, because I feel like you see the game in slow motion compared to normal players. During the second half, the offense speed ramped up. You and Torres were working quickly together to just tear through the French defense. And I want to know specifically, what did you talk about during halftime, or what were you seeing that enabled you to just take over and push the offense even faster?
No todo.
Bueno, ya me olvidó. Mentira. Como que quieres saber como que qué pasa por tu mente, como que mientras estás jugando, porque ya siente que usted ve el juego como en cámara lenta. Que después del segundo tiempo que usted aleja, empezaron a mover el disco muy, pues como que muy fácil, de aquí para allá. Como que quieres saber como que qué fue eso que hablamos en medio tiempo, como que qué es eso, como que ustedes y que tú hiciste diferente.
Creo que nosotros enfocamos muchísimo el medio tiempo en concentrarnos en la parte mental, en confiar en cada uno de los compañeros y así jugar y entregar el disco más rápido para poder hacer como las continuaciones.
So the thing like in the halftime, she said that in the halftime like we try like to be focused, like try like to carry into the second half, like really focus and playing our game, like just get here and do like a lot of passing, small touches, and just play and enjoy ultimate, you know, like just like go throw and go, and then yeah.
You all were warming up when Germany was defeating USA. What was your reaction when you learned, Manuela, you can answer this, when you learned that USA lost a game, what was your reaction?
That was Mauricio over there. He was like, okay, we will be able like to go back to our dorms and watch that game, just focus on the warm-up. We will see like we're listening to Dean, and I was like, USA is gonna come back. USA is gonna come back. And then when the game was over, I was like, wow, because like I mean we watched like the first 3 points, and they were like they weren't like that connected like between all of them. But I really thought that it was going to be like just a stall, like for the moment they were like going to recover, but for sure it's a huge surprise.
Yeah, and a great win for Germany.
I know. I can't wait to go back.
They're 2-0. You're 2-0. Australia's 2-0. What do you think about playing Australia tomorrow?
I'm pretty excited like to play against Australia. I remember that 5 years ago we were in the kind similar situation that we already made it like to final. So and our last game was Australia, and we really played a poor game at that time. So we really want to take care of tomorrow and like come like as we did today, come as we did yesterday, and come to play our best ultimate. Yeah, we don't really want to see that before like the semifinal that we are gonna have. We really want to like to come and show our best Frisbee and enjoy a lot.
Great stuff. Final question. 5 or 6 years ago, when I first got to watch you all play, it was tough to tell you apart. I really needed to know that Manuela was number 8 and Valeria was number 33. There's a little bit of a discrepancy between the physical appearances right now. You don't necessarily look like identical twins, or you don't comport yourself the same way. Manuela, when did that change?
¿Entendió esa? ¿Quiere responder algo?
Primero sé, o sea, yo entendí como que cuál es la diferencia entre
Y como
nosotros.
que en qué momento eso cambió. Okay, I mean, I really think that at that time, like, we still we were so similar, way so similar in our appearance, but we have been always like pretty different, like what we are like completely different person. Like Bala is like the one that have the order all the time, like everything said, and the one like super relaxed, and yeah, so like we were like every like year like that we live, we will like have like the same. Like living the same stuff, like going to the school together, like going to Frisbee together, but we still have things that we really like. We're really different than that. And last year I was like, I don't know what to do with my hair. I'm not enjoying this. I'm gonna shave it because I was in Colorado. I was like, no one is gonna see me. I'm just gonna be here, and I like it. So.
Yo creo que el momento donde más nos empezamos a diferenciar fue en el 2019, cuando yo tomé la decisión de jugar en radio y usted Molly, porque ahí tú empezaste a tener como nuevas amigas y yo me fui como yendo como más por el lado de allá, entonces esa fue como una etapa donde podemos crecer como personas.
Well, I also think that the moment that we really like said like a different one to 2019, when she decided to go to play in Rio, because that was like basically the first time that we play in different teams. So she said that said like a different, like we were to go live way different experience. I was there in Colorado and she was there in Seattle, like living different experience, and for the first time like being apart, we have been always like being together, sleeping in the same bed, like sharing everything, sharing friends. So yeah.
Well, it's been marvelous to watch. I want to say the two of you grow up. I mean, we saw you when you were 16 years old in London, and you were playing at the World Championship level before that, at the junior level. It's so much fun to watch you both play, and you know, those differences are what make you, both of you special. So it's fun to watch you shoot. It's fun to watch you lay out, and I know you can shoot and you can lay out too. So you all can do both things.
I control.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias for spending this time with us. Get some rest, and we can't wait to watch you all play tomorrow.
Con mucho gusto. Mande un saludo a mi mamá, pues. Mi papá, pues.
Un saludo para mis papás.
To say that to my parents and family.
You're going home to play chess, right? Because you had to play your chess club before you could play Ultimate back home.
Oh, you watch that, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big
really
thing.
Feel proud about it.
They've done all right for themselves playing Ultimate. Manuela and Valeria Cardenas need no introduction at the World Games. We're going to take a quick time out. Daryl will come back and we'll wrap it up here in Birmingham after this.
Hasta luego.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
Well, the sun is setting on day 2 here at the World Games. How much fun are Manuela and Valeria Cardenas? They're so different, but you get them together, you can tell that they've been sisters, obviously, their whole lives, and it's a special relationship, and goodness, are they unbelievable on the field.
Yeah, as you said, it really does feel like we've watched them grow up, and the entrance they had in the Frisbee world has been spectacular. Just when you have people who play Ultimate so consistently at such a young age and are very athletic, they just grow into becoming just superstars.
Let's do the math. They said they'd been playing a decade together when you asked if Valeria would just throw it to Moscata. A decade. They're only 22 right now. That is incredible. We don't have that. I don't think there's anywhere in the world of Ultimate that is doing it like that.
We've watched them grow up, and they are still far away from their ultimate primes, if you think about it, as they turn 23 later this month, and they got Australia tomorrow. What a day it is going to be here. The final day of pool play, the final day of our wraparound coverage, and the real meat of the day is going to be in the evening session with USA-Canada, the final game of the day, the de facto quarterfinal. Winner to the semis, loser is done. And before that, we decide who wins Pool B, Colombia or Australia. Give me your quick thoughts on that matchup.
Wow. I mean, that's really tough. Australia has not given the disc away much on their offensive unit. And I think that's what we've seen Colombia do a really good job of taking advantage of. If you give them anything, if you are even a little bit loose, they just go for it. So I got to say, that's a really tough one for me to call.
Yeah,
I'm going to punt.
We'll make you pick it tomorrow.
Yes, I will be prepared by tomorrow.
You have another 20 hours or so.
Yeah, the other thing that I have noticed about Australia, players like Rob Andrews is going to take the disc away.
McGuckin.
If there's McGuckin, if you give even a shred of a margin of inaccuracy, Colombia, not known for being terribly inaccurate, but they're going to have to tighten up their throws even more to stay ahead of the teeth of the Crocs.
If you look at the full schedule, 3 teams have already clinched their spot in the semifinals. Germany is 2-0. They are in the semis regardless of how they fare against Great Britain tomorrow. But then we'll see Japan and France both going for their first win. And that'll be an emotional game for each of those teams to try and get a win. And certainly France and Japan have been close. I mean, they have not been blown out. They have been exciting and interesting. But then the Pool B championship game with Colombia and Australia. And the way it works out, the final game of pool play, USA and Canada for a spot in the semifinals. What do you think? How well do you think those two teams are going to sleep tonight? Let me ask you that.
I think they're both going to sleep fine because they know how important this game is, right? Like, that pressure is going to help them fall asleep. It's really going to come down to which team is going to dial in the mistakes that have cost them games so far in this tournament.
I'll tell you, the coaches aren't going to sleep. That's the bottom line. If the players will find a way, there's no way the coaches will sleep. Maddie Sang, Miranda, and Patrick are going to have to really cook something up and have a serious meeting. I'm very nervous. Canada at least was trending on the right direction. USA, not so much.
How quickly things change in 24 hours. I mean, where were we thinking Canada was going to be 24 hours ago after they were pummeled by Germany? They bounced back and beat GB, and all of a sudden they've got a USA right where they want them, with an opportunity to advance to the semifinals. Day 3 of the World Games begins at 9:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning, again with Germany and Great Britain. We'll be on the air at 9:15 Central Time here in Birmingham. That'll wrap up our Day 2 coverage. On behalf of our entire tremendous, hard-working crew, my great teammates here, Daryl and Megan, for everybody calling the action, Tom and Liam and Hanny and Rael, Evan Lepler, with the privilege of saying good night from the World Games. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. So much on the line here in Birmingham. Have a great night. Thank you for watching this exclusive World Flying Disc Federation coverage of the World Games. On behalf of our entire crew in Madrid and everyone here in Birmingham, Alabama, I'm Evan Lepler. This has been a copyrighted presentation of the International World Games Association in conjunction with the Olympic Channel and the World Flying Disc Federation.